I had an abortion in April, and I haven't been able to cope. Like that title says, I had an abortion, or rather I was forced into one based on circumstances you can read about in my other post BC. I simply do not want to reiterate all of that right now. This will be insanely long because I'm a yapper, and I also haven't had any opportunity to talk about this to anyone in my life because I don't want anyone to worry about me. And there might be some identifying information here, so if you know me, no you don't. I said in one of my previous posts, I hope it gets better and easier to live with every day, but it hasn't. I still hate and regret everything I've done, and I still can't look at my dad the same anymore. I hate looking at pregnant women because I know if I had just f***ing stuck up for myself, I would be like them. And yeah, I've realized by now I would have hated to bring a baby into this household, so that's the only thing I can kind of see as a good thing with this situation. But otherwise, I'm so bitter and jealous towards babies and pregnant people. I hate seeing videos of people who play with their adorable, perfect babies telling me, one won't hurt, when I couldn't even have my baby. I'm so jealous and I feel awful because it's not anyone else's fault, but I can't stand it. I've been blocking and unfollowing people who are pregnant/have babies, and it's been alright. I just keep thinking about the actual procedure and how they had given me all these drugs to make it painless, which it was. But the potency of them had slowed and shallowed my breathing so much they had to put me on oxygen, so I wouldn't stop breathing, and I honestly wish they would have just let me die on that table so I wouldn't have to deal with this awful guilt. I reinstalled one of my pregnancy tracker apps earlier, and it still had my data on it, and I would have been 30 weeks tomorrow, and that broke me. I'm so mad at myself, and I miss my baby so bad, and I wish I could be looking forward to having a kid, but I can't. I'm also struggling to cope with it because of how many things happened back to back within April/May. First, I told my dad a few days before my 21st birthday, then he ignored me until the day after my birthday and didn't even say happy birthday to me at all, which really hurt because my mom died last year and I wanted both of my parents for my 21st, but that obviously didn't happen. It was just me, my baby, and my brother, and our cats there, and I had to force myself not to cry. Then he forced me to get the abortion. Then 2 days after, while I was still in pain, it was my brother's birthday, and I was bleeding, and I was trying not to cry the whole day or act like I was depressed because I didn't want to ruin his birthday. Then the next day I started a brand new job, and then that same my car battery died while I was in the middle of the road, and after a 9-hour shift I had to wait on the side of the road until my dad could come get me. And he also brought his girlfriend, which was so shocking because I didn't expect her, which honestly made me more anxious. And so I just didn't talk the entire car ride back and went right to my room when we got back. Then the next day my dad calls to tell me that his girlfriend felt offended that I didn't talk to her or him the whole ride. Like, you're a grown woman, literally, who cares? She apparently worries that I don't like her when honestly I kind of don't, but I also don't care enough about her to like or dislike her. But this is off topic. But I was just so pissed that he had the audacity to lecture me about not talking to him after what happened 3 days before. And then in May I started talking to this guy, and he was super obsessed with the idea of us having babies and talked ABT it within 2 weeks of knowing each other. And on the one date we had, he told me he wants 5 kids, and that was all super triggering for me because now I'm terrified to get pregnant again and have my dream ruined. I hate thinking about having kids and being pregnant because what if I'm forced to have an abortion again? I know it's stupid and irrational, but it's how I feel, and talking to that guy made it so much worse. Than he ghosted me because of his mental issues, and we talked ABT it and I blocked him. But while he was ghosting me, I was losing my mind. I felt like I was going through a breakup. I literally couldn't eat. And then in May I got fired from my job for lack of reliability, and that fed with me so much, but I couldn't even let it show. I was so depressed. BC, that was the only savior I had. Whenever I'd leave for work, I knew for the most part have all my home issues off my mind. Except for this one day about 3 weeks after my abortion, when a lady came in and was super giddy and told me and my coworker she just found out she was pregnant with twins. I could have dropped to my knees and screamed and cried when she told us that, but I knew I couldn't have any reaction besides excitement for her because of how excited she was, but I did have to go to the bathroom after that to cry quickly before going back out. And ever since April I haven't had a large appetite, and during 4/20ths I bought my first cart because obviously I wasn't going to consume any weed while pregnant, but since I wasn't, I have been smoking every single day since then. First, I only smoked like a hit or two, but now I'm hitting it like 4 times every hour from like 6 p.m. to 5 a.m., and it's ridiculous. My first cart lasted me a whole month, then I got super depressed, and only being high helped, and then I started running those carts in 2 weeks. I realized I don't even eat if I'm not high. I'll eat snacks, but I won't make full meals, and I just can't take all of this anymore. I want to die, but I cannot abandon my brother, and our cats. I need to be here and do things for them. I wish I wasn't relied on so heavily so I could just be vulnerable, but I can't. I never have been able to just have someone to rely on in my whole life. I'm so exhausted and I wish I could rest, or forget what happened, or be able to forgive my father. I don't even think he deserves it. I just hate how I feel about him right now. I want a hug, I want comfort, but no one can give it to me. I don't want my dad to hug me. It feels awkward hugging my brother, and I really want a hug from my mom. I've wanted my mom throughout this whole thing, but as stated above, she's dead, so I won't ever be able to get a hug or kiss or anything from her. And I still haven't processed her death, and I barely could because I got pregnant almost 2 months after her death. And to this day, I can't process her death and my baby's death, but I do find some solace knowing the two of them are together in the afterlife, or like whatever happens after we die. This is all coming to a head likely because I'm on my period and this terrible guilty feeling always comes back whenever I get it. I even tried birth control to stop it, but it made my flows heavier and last longer, which made everything worse, so I stopped.